This morning, the London City Lionesses have announced the signing of Alexia Putellas. Two-time Ballon d'Or winner, World Cup champion, and one of the greatest players to ever play in women's sport. The independent club that went from second tier to first division within the space of 1 year, now with one of the best players in the game wearing their shirt. In a moment, I'll be bringing out Alexia and Michelle to both talk about what this moment means and to take them through this, why it's such an iconic moment for women's football. But first, here's a little look of what it looks like through Alexia's eyes.
I've spent my life chasing the highest standards, the biggest challenges, the places where ambition has no limits. Because the future doesn't belong to those who wait for it. It belongs to those willing to build it. Those willing to see something others can't. To believe before everyone else does. I've been watching a club with no interest in following the path that's already been written. A club with the courage to write its own. A club that believes the best is still to come. And that's why I'm here. Because the future isn't somewhere you arrive, it's something you create. And right now, all eyes are on London City.
Can everyone please welcome to the stage Alexia Putellas and Michelle Kang. Okay, Alexia, I promise to speak slowly. You asked me earlier, and I promise. Before we get into any of it, the club, the future, all of it, I just want to start with you right now. Now it's officially announced here in front of everyone. I know that this moment has been coming for you. How does it feel to officially have the news out there for everyone?
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. Yeah, finally, there was a lot of expectation about my future, and yeah, the last several weeks I had to make a decision, and finally, it's not a private thing now. So yeah, very very happy and really excited about the day of here in New York and about the season, of course.
I played this game for a long time as well, and I know there's a certain moment where the question changes, why now? You know, you have so many trophies, and I know the competitor in you will never stop chasing those trophies, but why was this decision for what are you actually looking for now with London City?
Well, the first thing was think about if after 14 years was the last season in Barca, and fortunately or not, there's a beginning and there's an ending, in my opinion, and it was the right moment after winning everything and after give all my best to Barca to take a decision to make that last season was my last in Barca, and then I met with my agent and he asked me what I want, and my answer was I want to keep winning. So yeah, for me it was easy decision because I want to compete every weekend. So that's why I moved to England, because I'm really excited to play in this league, and it's not just for playing. I want to win. Of course, there's a process for that. I know where the club is, and it's about a transition. But my mentality is to win everything. Of course.
It is a big jump. A new country, a new league, a club, you know, still in a building process, even though how well they've done. a lot of players protect their legacy at this stage, but you've gone the other way. Can I ask you a little bit about that and why now? Why the leap and why this project?
I'm not gonna lie. Some people told me you don't have to prove anything. Go and enjoy the life, but it's not my way to understand this job. My passion is to compete, and if I don't do, probably I will give up football. So I don't know. It's my way of living this sport. Just compete, just to prove myself. Not even every game, every training. So my main goal is to be better day after day and push myself and look for my limits. Even I don't know where are they, but I gonna try to look for that limit and yeah, of course, give my best to my teammates, to the club, and to my new supporters.
New supporters, I love it. Michelle, I would love to pick up on what this club is becoming because you've clearly invested so much in players and facilities, performance staff. Can I ask you a bit about why it goes beyond just players? Because that was clearly such an investment initially, but why build beyond that?
Can I just enjoy this moment?
Yeah.
It's so surreal that she's sitting right here, and we have room full of supporters and passionate supporters of women's football. So this is my dream come true. I have a business background, and I consider that women's football also is a product that we have to build. And it's sort of like, when you have a 3 Michelin star restaurant, you may have Gordon Ramsay, Daniel Boulud, but a star chef can come and cook one fabulous meal. But if you don't have a professional kitchen, if you don't have an army of other cooks, and if you don't have the process for quality control and sanitary, all that, you're not going to last long. So if you have a great player like Alexia, on the strength of players, you may win one season, but you're not going to compete year after year after year. So for women's football to thrive and be here year after year, really delighting all the fans, you have to have the right ingredients. First and foremost, we have to take care of our players. We have to understand how to keep our players healthy and be at 100 and 110% of what they can perform. So that means training center, that means training methodology, that means we bring the elite, the best staff in. So without those ingredients, it's going to be short-lived. It's going to be a moment as opposed to movement. So you have to invest. So as you know, we are at London City is building a state-of-the-art training center that's going to open soon, probably early next year. So these are all part of the ingredients that we need to have. And that's even inside the club world, but it also needs referees and the youth academies and all those type of things. So they all need to move together. The entire ecosystem has to be built, not just one ingredient.
So what I'm hearing is, it's an owner and a player on the same journey, and it's so cohesive in that sense. If I could ask you, Michelle, where do you actually see the women's game going on that same trajectory when two people like yourself come together for that one journey?
Yeah, and I think it's I'm going to call it, of course, first and foremost, Alexia joined London City, that's playing in the most competitive league in Europe. So as she said, she's actually very competitive. It's actually contagious. I thought I was competitive, but her desire, indomitable, insatiable desire to win is really quite remarkable. So this is all good, but I think that we're really partnering. I really consider this as a partnership because we have work to do. First and foremost, she's playing her role on the pitch, but there are so many things that we have to do because I feel that the foundational block for women's sports, for that matter, any other sports, is really fill up the stadium. You want to play in a sellout crowd, some of you, especially US journalists, will hopefully have heard about the term rowdy outy. You want to have the kind of fan base that is every weekend come and really support your fans, support your team and the players. So you really want to build that kind of environment, and that starts from the pitch, but also an investment in fan engagement, investment in infrastructure, and so forth. So we want to prove that the women's football is a serious, fiercely competitive, and compelling entertainment, bar none to anything else, that the more and more fans are going to come and watch. I know we're in the middle of the World Cup, men's World Cup, but we have the ambition to match that level of excitement that's being generated. And that doesn't happen overnight. And I'm really, really deeply grateful for this partnership, because with her brand and her reputation and her name recognition, with hopefully my passion and interest in investing in this sport, we can get there so that this game does not need any outside validation. We stop comparing ourselves against any other sport, especially men's game, and we stop following men's formula, but build our own. And I think this is a partnership between, you can call whatever name, owner, player, but clearly she's not alone. This requires every player in London City, every player in WSL, and every player who's playing this beautiful game. And we're going to get there to get the attention and also the share of investment dollars that are going into sports.
The shared belief is incredible, and I think the way you describe it, everyone is tuned in, but it also takes something else to actually build it. And I'd love to ask you if you can describe what is actually going on behind the scenes, because I've had the honour of actually going to the London City Lionesses facilities, and even seeing that still at an early stage, it looks incredible. So could you give us a little bit of an insight of what it takes to actually build that belief?
Yeah, and I think, as I said, I think my business background helps, because building a product, a compelling product, not just one season or one year, but compelling, because this is a journey. This doesn't happen overnight. And again, this requires every ingredient ecosystem. So first and foremost, one of the things that I found out when I first got into this, the game, was that, especially when I showed up in Lyon, like top players, 7 or 8 players had ACL injury in the prior 24 months. And no one was blinking an eye or panicking. They were talking as if this was sort of a matter of fact. And I'm like, how could you have top players being on ACL injuries and think that this is not a crisis? And it was primarily because, not only because not much attention is being given, but not much is known. We're training our players and taking care of our players as if they're small men. And in part because it's not because people didn't care, they didn't know that much better. So that meant that there has to be more research. Some of you may have heard me say that 94% of all science and medical research, especially on athletes, is dedicated to men. Not much is known about women's bodies. So how can you build a business and expect fans to come in and enjoy this incredible game and fiercely competitive game if the players are constantly being injured and can't come back and all that stuff, right? And we don't know how to train our players. So this is really all the right things to do. And so one of the first things that I did when I first took over the first team was to went to actually the Premier League. And I wanted to learn what the best football world looks like, and what do they have, what are the ingredients. And one of the things that I noticed was that all the top men's premier teams had just unbelievable training center. The nutritionists, the medical, some teams even had their own medical equipment, MRI machines on site, medical doctors on site. So I really did the best practice kind of a research around what it takes to build the best football team. And that's what we're doing. It's not going to happen overnight. The first training center that's going to be built in London City and open hopefully early next year, it's a 3-4 year effort. And this was actually not just a training center, it was really designed and built for women. When I hired this architect who built one of the best Premier League team men's training center, I kind of said, well, that was really great. Why don't you go build the same thing? I don't think we need to reinvent the wheel. That looks great, go do it. But then the architect actually, who's never built anything women's team, actually suggested that he should come out, the team should come out and watch how the players, female players, what their day, every day looks like when they arrive and so forth. So they followed the Spirit players, they followed the Lyon players. At that time, I didn't have the London City yet. And actually, shame on me, they came back and said that, no, we can't just copy men's training center, haha. There are almost 100 elements that are different between men and women's training centers. So we need to really change and really adopt how female players need to be trained, how they move around every year. So we can't just copy and make the best Premier League, a men's training center. So this takes time, this takes research, and it has to be intentional. It cannot be just, oh my God, okay, let's just go buy something, but it has to be intentional. And the money has to be there.
That is fascinating, especially the training ground facilities, because I think every female player is just used to that setting. They don't know anything different. So the fact that that is being built is truly incredible. Alexia, I wanted to ask, you've been doing this, playing since you were a little girl, and seeing the way the game has even changed within that amount of time is huge. When you picture the future, when you look at the future, what do you think you want to help build?
Okay, now my role is to perform on the pitch and be better, as I say, day after day. But I know that the players will have an impact on all these young generations. So I just want to inspire them to be the best as they can. For sure, now they have more access, more facilities, better trainings than I had. But everybody born when that happened, but I'm really happy to be part of this moment, of this part of the game. I'm really enjoying, and I'm super committed to for the future and for the give the best facilities, the best options for being best of the next generation.
Speaking of next generation, when you see these little girls coming through and playing football, what do you think you want them to have that maybe you didn't have when you were younger?
What I say, the best option for being better, being woman athlete, the best trainings, the best facilities, the best pitch, the best weight rooms. I didn't have that, but I think that they will. I always say they will be better than us, than our generation, because they are growing with all this, and I'm really excited to see toward the future, because it will be better. So it's a win for everybody.
And that is exactly what you're investing in, is that research and science for those specific things for the health of young female athletes. You've spoke a little bit about it, but can I ask why that is so important for you, and why is it so important for the future of players?
For a whole variety of reasons, but whether it's a boy or a girl, young kids, when they're growing up, they begin to appreciate their worth from the environment they grow up in, right? So if a girl who wants to play soccer and who goes to an academy, local academy, and if she's being treated second class, she's going to think she's second class, right? So we don't want kids to grow up like that, whether it's a boy or a girl. So I want this to be new normal, where the girls don't even think about the environment in which they're going to train, the coaching staff, the weight room, the pitch, all those things, that this is really the new normal, that you have comparable environment that your next door boys would have access to. And I think this is really about providing, and I think some of you also heard me talk about me being an immigrant and fortunate enough to achieve my American dream. So this is about allowing young girls to be able to achieve their dream. If their dream happens to be to play soccer in the best environment at the highest level, I want to provide that environment in which they can actually pursue that. They don't have to worry about where the infrastructure is second class or third class. But if you don't become, because infrastructure resources are there, if you don't become the highest, the compete at the highest level and so forth, you have sort of yourself to blame. You put 100% of what you have because all the right ingredients are there. So, this is also in part my way of giving back, but I want to create an environment that all girls anywhere, any girl anywhere, can have same access and can see a very clear and real pathway right in front of her to pursue their dream.
When we talk about research, facilities, science for athletes, that doesn't necessarily pay off this season coming. That is an investment quite far out. Why is it still so important to invest in that kind of horizon?
Yeah, because, most of the enduring product, even in the business world, doesn't happen overnight, and no one can just be the best by surviving in one season. I mean, I'm also in my business background, it's healthcare background. So even some of the pills that you're taking, do you know how long it takes to get the clinical research? Certain things take 20 years, 30 years to come up with just one pill. And now that pill could save millions and billions. So everything that's worthwhile takes a long time to build. And especially when you're talking about human bodies, you can't just come at the age of 18, 19 and say, oh, now let's play soccer, and without any basis and without understanding the body, it's going to be short-lived. And I think this is, to some extent, a selfish reason for those of us in the sports business. You want this to live long. And the health research takes a long time. And the investment has to be patient capital. You can't just come in and, I'm impatient too. I want to win everything in first year. But you have to appreciate that certain things will take time if you want to do it right. And you have to do that. It really requires patient capital and doing it the right way when you're 3, 4, 5 years old. I learned to play piano when I was really young, but I was very rebellious. So I defied all the rules and I just tried to learn how to do it myself. So 20, 30 years later, I can't really play well because I didn't have the foundation to do it well. So I think it takes time, it takes patient capital, and we have to start early.
Talking of that timeline, Alexia, and that amount of time, how does it feel to be in the middle of it now as a player and your role within that? What does that look like for you?
Well, as I say, I'm really happy to be part of this moment. It's a privilege. I'm grateful. I'm blessed. I'm really enjoying the moment, and I know that there's a lot of women that they couldn't play and they couldn't be what I am because of the foundation. So I'm really grateful and blessed that in certain way I had that foundations, and now we are building all the foundations for the next generations.
Okay, this is my last question to the both of you. But if this all works out exactly how you intend it, majority of my career was in the Barclays WSL. I'm now a huge fan of it. To see an independent club do something different, is your wish for it to be the catalyst to help other clubs? Or how do you really see this play out, not just for London City Lionesses, but for the entire league, of women's football?
Yeah, I mean, I think, as I said earlier, this is Alexia joining London City represents something that's far greater than just a player joining a club to win WSL titles or qualify for European competition. We both share that we need to advance women's football to a point where this sport, the women's football game, stands entirely on its own. It doesn't need any validation. We don't need to justify our existence. Players earn what they're truly worth because the business of this game generates it and earns it, not because some corporation is being generous. Clubs can stand on their own. The facilities, the science research are built for women, not borrowed from men. And the next generation, young girls, can benefit from very early on what we're building, what our current players can start enjoying so that they can pursue their dream. And this is really something that we're trying to work together to come up with living proof. Again, the women's football is a serious business, one of the most compelling, entertaining sports product. When you have a one weekend free, the first thing you think about is I want to go see this game. That's where we want to be. I want to fill the stadium. I want to invite more media because they feel that this is a great business, not because they feel like they have to, but this is good business. I want more corporations to come and join and support, and Alexia and together with other players, but this is a partnership. We're committed to building that together. We're going to go wherever who wants to listen to us. We're going to go there, and we're not going to wait for that future to arrive by accident or by chance. We're going to bring that future here by working together and working very hard.
And for you?
For me, as I said before, I love competing, and being in WSL. It's a challenge, but it is more challenging to be with an independent club. So for me, it was one of the reasons to become London City player, because there's no main team behind, and we share the same vision. And I remember one of the lines that Michelle told me when I met with her, that it's women football is not charity. And I want to say this because I really believe that, but as she said, that doesn't happen for accident, so we have to work for it. And me as a football player, I'm gonna give my 100% for helping to grow the industry, to helping to grow the women's football, and I'm really focused on that on and off the pitch.
Well, a huge congratulations to you both. This really is such a special moment. And there's only one way to really make this official, so I think we should bring out something really special.
This way.
What a brilliant conversation we have had so far. Thank you so much to Jen for leading that. And honestly, the reaction online has been absolutely incredible. People are so excited. And as promised, we're going to kick off with a little Q&A. And some of the questions have really made me laugh. I think the first one I wanted to put to you, Alexia, is from Amy from London. What's the most exciting part of coming to London? And can she show you around the city, please?
The weather. No. I've been in London several times ago, and I visit the city, and of course everybody talks really good about the city, but I feel like I'm looking forward to know more about the city, about the culture. At the end of the season, I promise you I will speak a proper English. So no, I'm really excited, and when I will have a free day, I will visit the city, and yeah, looking forward.
Yeah, we can't wait to have you there. And one for you, Michelle, was about what is the ambition now for London City now that you have Alexia as a player? Is there something we want to tick off in the near future?
Is it not obvious? Did that question have to be asked? All I want for London City is to go for the North Star, to go as far as they can go. My job is to provide an environment in which they can thrive, and the rest is up to them.
That's a very good answer. And Alexia, for you, there's been a lot of new signings in the WSL, and somebody wanted to know, why do you think so many incredible players are choosing to come to this league, and why now?
In my opinion, the league is stepping forward. In my opinion, is the most competitive league, and you have to give your 100% game after game. And the players who are competitive love that. So that was one of the reason in my decision.
And Michelle, actually, for you, have you heard more interest from players wanting to come and join London City with the increasing strength of the WSL and, of course, with the club?
Yeah, so I think there are a lot of players who are interested in part because of the project, but because also the fact that I'm grateful that Alexia mentioned it as well, that there's some curiosity, but also genuinely believing in the future of women's sports, and especially as the only independent women's team, especially it's not that unusual in the US, but it is very unusual in the UK, in Europe in general. So I think there is a curiosity factor, but also being part of that, because I think they want to experience what it's like to be only independent team, that the 100% focus is on women, not, shared. That's the kindest way to say it.
No, I like that attitude. And I will come to questions from the room in just a second. So please have a little think about any questions you might like to put to either Alexia or Michelle. But one of the sentiments in the chat that everyone was talking about, and was really, really lovely, about how excited they are for the future. But one stood out to me in particular was someone was watching with their daughter, an under-12 academy player for London City Lionesses. And I would just love to know what you hope the club might look like when it comes for that under-12 player to finally make her professional debut one day. Maybe Alexia, starting with you.
Can you repeat?
For a young player who's playing for the academy right now, what do you hope the game and the club will look like in, what must it be, 6, 7, 8 years' time when she makes her professional debut?
What they are building, the training centers, the facilities, giving all these young players the best condition for performing and for being better day after day.
Michelle, anything to add?
They're going to see Alexia and all other. We're going to have an incredible squad this year, so they're going to get to see, because I think, when you're growing up, I said briefly before, the environment you're in is probably the most important thing. Not only just your parents, but spend more time at school and others. So being in the same environment with a player like Alexia, just breathe the same air, right? By watching, it's going to make a difference. But we're going to actually very systematically invest in youth academy and bring the youth academy at London City to the level that the first team is.
Love to hear it, and huge good luck to that young player who's watching on. Now, I would love to take a question from the room. I think we've got some microphones floating around. Yes, maybe dive in here.
Hi, congratulations. Alexia, you have been a leader not just at the club level for Barcelona, but in the Spanish Federation in earning respect for women's football. You said that you would like to play in the WSL. I'm sure you had offers from probably every club in the WSL. Was Michelle's pioneering in the sport and that shared value a huge factor in you picking the Lionesses?
Do you want me to leave the room?
No, no worries. 100%. I want to explain you that we met long time ago, even with when Michelle didn't start all these projects, and she was interested in what's important for the players. It's not about Michelle. A lot of people also call me or they want to meet with me because of that, because they are interested in that. So I remember that conversation with Michelle, and after that, what's important for you? What's important for the player? What you need? What we have to do for you because you want to be better, and how we can help. And after that conversation, she said, I have this project, this is on my mind. And then, like, I was watching, like, everything that she said was happening. So for me, that's a huge factor that it's not just words, it's facts. So that's one of the reason I choose coming in the London City team, because I really believe that she is confident in what she is doing. And then the other reason is because it's an independent club. That makes me feel motivated, that it's different for what I've been doing in my entire life. So I love challenging myself and be part of a different challenge, quite a different challenge, and that's why I choose London City.
But I do want to clarify, just in case, that first dinner was about 4 years ago.
Yeah,
4
long
years
time ago.
It was
Yeah.
in Miami, I still remember, and it was really, as she said, I was really curious, what would a top women's team players would want to see, what's missing, and all that, as opposed to anything else, and we're sharing our respective visions and so forth. So that was more than 1,000 days ago.
Yeah, that's a long time ago. That's
Any more from the room? Yeah, down here.
Hi, congratulations. Michelle, you mentioned a lot of the research you initiated into injuries like ACL tears. I'm wondering if any of this research has already, or you think is likely to yield the research you initiated into injuries like ACL tears. I'm wondering if any of this research has already, or you think is likely to yield information that benefits all women, whether they are professional athletes or not, and how you sort of see the future of that work.
Right behind you are two ladies from U.S. Soccer. I started Kaniska Innovation Hub to do all that, and the objective of that was not to publish medical article to be in New England medical journals, but rather come up with the practical guidelines and the processes for every team, female team, how to really take care of female athletes and so forth. So, you know, even as an independent, individual, private foundation, there's a limit as to how you can not only do the research, but also how you disseminate the information. Because I'm just one private individual, so I partner with U.S. Soccer, because U.S. Soccer had a very similar vision, and U.S. Soccer clearly is in a position to convene, to compel, I don't know whether I can say that, but at least encourage all these sports organizations to adopt certain standards and encourage them to do it. So I thought that it would be better for an organization like U.S. Soccer to take on the research, so that we needed something like 1 million people to join the research to have a statistically significant outcome and so forth. And by the way, that research subjects include not only professional athletes, but average people who routinely exercise and so forth. And then the most importantly, to come up with the methods, right? The processes and a system so that it is implementable. So actually, before I hand it over, we even had a draft system of bronze, silver, gold level. So that if you're just starting out as a female team, what do you have to have? Do you have to have a full-time nutritionist, a full-time physio, full-time medical school? But it's highly unlikely. So what's the minimum to start? And then if you're the gold standard, what is it? You know, full-time nutritionist and all that. So that's going to be done. Yes, it is U.S. soccer, but the objective is to make it available. I'm getting a lot of phone calls. They're getting a lot of phone calls from actually other sports organizations. I'm actually going to be in Birmingham tomorrow, Birmingham, England tomorrow, talking to International Olympic Committee to talk about women's research. I mean, there are so many organizations and sports entities that are really interested in female athlete research. So the goal is absolutely to make it available to everyone. Right? Did I say anything? Yeah.
I think we have time for one or two more from the room if anyone else would like to ask one. Not a problem because, oh yeah, at the back. We'll bring you a microphone, just 1 second.
Hi, congratulations. Ben Horney with Front Office Sports. The MRI machines and whatnot, the equipment that you were talking about, I found that very interesting. I was wondering, the teams that you own, have you implemented getting that equipment? Is the idea that any Michelle Kang owned team will have all that state-of-the-art stuff? And then my one other question was, as you've done all this research, have you found that there's any specific equipment that women need that maybe men's teams don't necessarily need?
I can't really tell you about the equipment, but I can tell you about the MRI machines and so forth. It was clearly a European team had it. Actually, I've seen only one team that has full-blown, almost like a mini clinic and so forth. And it was not a top Premier League team. I don't know whether there are, I didn't visit all Premier League teams. But in America or in certain countries, I think that having machines, medical equipment, requires a whole different set of regulations and safety procedures and so forth. So I'm not sure whether that's really, I mean, there are so many other things that you can think about doing, basic things. So I'm not sure whether that is necessarily the gold standard. I just made that comment because I was actually struck by that. In terms of what's specific to women, I don't know about equipment, but I will share my anecdotes where, when I said that the Women's Training Center have over 100 different elements. So what are they? I get that question a lot. And I actually, when I was looking for coaches for my teams, there aren't that many coaches right now available at the highest level, and the good ones are all already taken. It's very hard. And the last thing I want to do is steal from each other, because we want to grow the pie. We don't want to steal from each other. So I wanted to bring more people in. So I actually went out to the men's team and trying to hire the best coaches from men's teams. And quite a few people have told me, oh, teaching women's team is very different than men's team. And I heard that too many times, and I said, okay, tell me what is the difference. And I may get into trouble by saying this, but it was almost unanimous by 8, 9 people. And then since then, whenever I say this, a lot of people actually nod. So apparently, when a coach wants to deliver the message as to what they want, what the coach wants to do, whether it's for the game or for their training, whatever the coach or the staff needs to communicate to the players, for the men's team, apparently you have to do it in 5 minutes. That's the attention that you're going to get from male players. And after that, you lose their attention, or they think they already got what they wanted. For women's teams, apparently you have to spend 20, 30 minutes and not only explain what they're going to do, but why. So you have to explain why we're doing what we're doing to the group. And then the players walk away and think about it and then come back and say, oh, by the way, when you said we're going to do X, Y, and Z, why is that? So individually come. So in our training center, we actually redesigned the whole area, training the staff interaction areas to facilitate this level of conversations. So not only the group rooms to communicate, but a lot of individual group rooms. So we actually facilitated this as a standard as the communications to flow. That's sort of one example.
I feel like that jives with normal society, men and women as well.
Yeah, so one more question from the room down here, if we can, please.
Thank you. Alexia Meglinahan from The Athletic. Just in terms of, I mean, when you started at Barcelona, the league was not actually professional, technically, right? So as you have gone through your club career and women's football in general has grown, how do you view your responsibility to growing that side of the game? Do you even view it as a responsibility that players have to carry?
I never felt that responsibility. I just be myself playing, and then the rest happened. I know I grow up at the same time as the game grow, so I don't know. So sometimes they ask me what impact did you had on the game, and my answer is always I just play. I don't know. I try to push myself, and also I don't know the rest of the issues for being the best. I want to be the best in the training center. I want to be the best in the weight room. I want to be the best everybody in everywhere. So I just focus on playing, and my mind was just that. And then in my opinion, there's more things that help that the women's game has grown. I don't know the supporters. Everybody is moving to the stadium now. We want more, but if you see, as you said, when I started in Spanish league, like it was 2,200 maybe. And now we are watching games with 60, 70,000. So it's something crazy, and I'm very happy to be part of it. But I just play, and I don't know my responsibilities. I just think on the pitch, and then the rest happen.
There is still so much excitement in our YouTube chat of people wanting to know more about your decision-making process, Alexia. But the one question that really jumped out to me from the chat was about you've spent 14 years in another shirt. It's a real change coming to London. Have you thought about what it might feel like to step out on the pitch for the first time in a London City Lionesses shirt?
Of course, it's a big challenge, and not just in a professional way, also in a personal way. So a little bit scared at the beginning, now motivated at all. Looking forward to start, to meet my teammates, the coach, being in London City facilities, and just to start and being myself, and talk about what we want, what we want to achieve. It's an uncomfortable process because I really know that it's like that, but it's I don't know, like a privilege to be part of this path.
And just one final question to wrap us up is from the YouTube again. You have many fans who have followed your career for several years, and I'm seeing people saying they can't wait to fly to London to come and see you play. But have you got a message for the fans about how excited you are for this next step in your career?
I really felt that they love me a lot, and I love them. So, yeah, my commitment is to give my best on the pitch and giving them the best feelings they can have on the stadium, and just be proud of the team, of what we do on the pitch.
Alexia, Michelle, thank you both so much for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
Well, I will just wrap things up for the YouTube stream. There we are then. Alexia Putellas is a London City Lioness. There's so much to look forward to this upcoming season. If you want to get your season tickets, head to londoncitylionesses.com. There's more news. And of course, if we just have a look at this, you can now get your Alexia shirts available from the club shop. It's a huge time for the club, and we are so excited for the future. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.